Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be talking about my pool plans for the next couple of weeks now that the community live stream has aired and we know exactly what is going to be dropping and when it's going to be dropping. It is a good time to talk about whether or not I am going to be pulling and or skipping some of these characters that are going to be dropping. So do let me know down in the comments below what your plans are going to be. Who are you going to be pulling for? What are you going to be skipping? Feel free to let me know. And of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for future content. With all that being said, let's go ahead and start off with the first character that's going to be dropping, which is Reks. Now, I've already made a should you pull video on him. If you want to check that video out and see what I think about him, feel free to do so. But basically, just to keep it short, he is a strong DPS cover tank. He really actually does some very good numbers, and I know he's not like a hyped up character for many players, but like when you put that to the side, you're gonna realize that Reks's damage output and what he does overall with his kit, he is actually a pretty good unit to really consider pulling for. So if you're a brand new player, if you don't have a tank, if you don't have a strong DPS, then Reks is a very, very good choice to really consider pulling for, especially on the DPS side. Like if you are waiting for Astos and you need something to fill in that role until he drops, and Reks is a really good character to consider for. For me myself, I'm gonna be pulling for his kit again because I do enjoy the fact that he has a good mixture between like the tanking capabilities and also the DPS capability. So I do feel like I still feel like he sits very well on a JP side right now. And I do think that he is a good character for me to pick up once again on my global account. Next up, we're going to be talking about Rem. Now, I'm not going to be talking about Vaughn. I'm going to talk about him more whenever I do my Should You Pull video for Rem and Vaughn. So if you want to hold off until then, or if you want to look up anything about him, check out the City Compendium. That's where everybody tends to look for their informational needs for Opera Omnia. So when it comes to Rem, if we take a look on the Cydia Compendium, the rework that she's going to be getting is going to be a really good rework. Her Devoted Heart buff is going to be getting an upgrade. Her EX ability is not going to deal 4 AoE full HP attacks. When it comes to her LD ability, gains more Brave potency, more stolen max Brave overflow, is able to recover bigger amounts of Brave in between said HP attacks, and now recovers one use of her skill 1 and her skill 2. The follow-up attack that she gains from an LD is now going to deal an AoE split HP attack 4 times, which with much higher stolen max Brave overflow. If we take a look at her FR, her FR is not too bad in my opinion. So basically with her FR, she now moves a selected ally's turn to after her own, and then she batteries the party. She deals her attack. When it comes to her FR conditions, a 20% increase whenever a teammate, except for Rem, recovers Brave to the party, except for self. A 40% increase whenever Rem recovers Brave to the party, except for self. And a 40% increase whenever party members' Brave is greater than or equal to 20% of max Brave at the end of the turn. So the conditions are not too terrible. I mean, they are manageable depending on like which units that you use. If anything, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe the spears that is able to recover Brave does count towards meeting the first condition. And with Rem's BT effect active, you really don't have to worry about that last condition, because like Rem's BT effect is going to make that so much easier. If you take a look at her BT effect is a pretty good BT effect because it does numerous things. So basically, it makes the party immortal. Like everybody is immortal. Like you can take damage galore, it doesn't even matter because they are immortal. So you don't have to worry about getting knocked out. After Rem's turn, everybody's EX ability is going to be ready to be used. So if you are going to pair Rem up with a character that has a very strong EX ability and you want to constantly use that EX ability, then Rem is a really good character to pair up with said character. The party is going to be getting a Brave damage cap up, HP damage up, HP damage cap up, Brave gains up. It converts 100% of excess HP heals to Brave, and then after every HP attack, increases Brave by 50% of the holder's max Brave. So Rem is a really good support character. She does have some utility capabilities within her BT, and so for me myself, I am probably going to pull for her kit again, just because she really, like, her overall kit, like when you take a look at it, like she is able to heal, she is able to charge up the gauge, the force gauge, pretty quickly, because her 2 skills is able to charge up the gauge, even though her second skill, which is the turn swap, it just depends on how often Rem is going to be using said ability. But Rem does have turn manipulation as well. She does have that follow-up. That follow-up attack grants a buff, which, if I'm not mistaken, is able to increase the damage output for said character. Even though that buff lasts for 1 turn, it's still a good buff to have, and that buff will always be active on your teammates next on her teammates next turn. So and then with a BT effect, not a bad BT effect whatsoever. I do think that it's a really solid BT effect. Her FR, like I said, it may not be like the best thing, but like when it comes to like FR Echo, if you're going to be using somebody else's force time, then hey, that's just another force time or force echo that you can use for another active force ability. So yeah, Rem, really solid character. I will more than likely be pulling for her kit, even though one thing I forgot to mention, even though her BT effect only lasts for 6 turns, and yeah, she does have turn manipulation, so depending on how often Rem is going to be acting will equal the duration of said BT effect being active. But for me myself, the way that I normally use Rem, like unless I need it for emergencies, I normally do not mess around with her turn swapping ability. I just focus on using everything else and taking advantage of everything else that she offers, especially now with that BT effect. It's going to be a nice BT effect where you can pretty much do like reckless gameplay, like at that point, because you really don't have to worry about getting knocked out, especially if we're going to be going into a fight where set enemies are just going to be like HP happy. With Rem, like, that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. Next up, we have General Leo, who is going to be getting his FR and BT. Now, General Leo, in my opinion, General Leo is a really strong character, specifically for single target fights. You can, at least for myself, I don't have an issue with this. Some players might, some players may agree with me, but like, I do think that you can still make him work whenever you are going up against 2 enemies. Now 3 enemies, that's going to be a different issue, and I'll explain as to why you can make him work with 2 enemies and not make him work with 3 enemies. So his skill 1 now deals 6 HP attacks. His skill 2, 8 HP attacks. His EX ability, his passive, his buff is going to be getting reworked a little bit. His LD ability is now going to deal 7 HP attacks. When it comes to his FR conditions, very easy to meet. Basically, his FR will delay the target for 3 turns. It does inflict his precision strike debuff on the target for 6 turns. That debuff is going to be very important for General Leo, and I will explain here in just a second. So his FR conditions: a 30% increase whenever a teammate deals brave damage to a single target, and a 45% increase whenever a teammate attacks an enemy inflicted with his precision strike debuff. So you can roughly get between like 75 to like 85% increase in the HP damage bonus, depending on what abilities you use, so on and so forth. Now, the biggest thing about General Leo is going to be his BT effect. His BT effect lasts for 8 turns. Excuse me. It provides the party with a 50% brave damage up, 50% brave damage cap up, and a 30% HP damage cap up. It also provides General Leo with a new follow-up attack. Now, this follow-up attack triggers every single time you attack somebody with a precision strike debuff. That's why I said that debuff is very important. The follow-up attack that he now gains will deal 4 HP attacks. So just imagine right there and then, you already know that his skills overall are going to be gaining more HP attacks, and then while you have his BT effect active, it's going to deal way more damage than you can potentially think of. Now, some players may say, well, why would I need a character like this who is picky when it comes to his follow-ups, when I do have another follow-up character, take example Noctis, where his is a little bit easier to manage. He will attack anybody while his BT effect is active. And to that, I can say, I understand that. When it comes to Noctis, comparing his follow-ups to General Leo, Noctis, if you are going to be using his FR Echo, you are going to be gaining that Warp Strike buff. Yeah, Warp Strike buff? Warp Step, excuse me. His Warp Step buff. The thing is though, with that Warp Step buff is that you are going to be constantly acting, and that is going to speed up the process of reducing his BT effect much faster, because if I'm not mistaken, Noctis BT effect only lasts for 6 turns. So because of that, if you're going to be spamming FR Echo, the only way to get around that is if you were to use this BT effect after you are done spamming FR Echoes. And in that way, everybody can take advantage of his follow-up attack. With General Leo, that's not going to be an issue, because the only thing you have to focus on is attacking the target with that specific debuff, and that's about it. So when it comes to single target attacks, General Leo excels when it comes to providing additional damage off-turn damage on your teammate's turn, and then on his own turn, he's going to be dealing some very good damage. Now, comparing him to, let's say, Tifa, who is like this single target goddess, I would say I would still probably choose Tifa over General Leo, but pairing them up together would be disgusting, because you would have Tifa with a BT effect active. Tifa's overall kit is already dealing a crap ton of damage, and then with the BT follow-up, like, she's dealing additional damage, and then if you have General Leo behind her, that's just gonna be HP shaving that you are going to be dealing onto said enemy very quickly. The final thing I want to mention about General Leo is going to be that if you're going up against 2 targets, you can always attack the other target if you are already dealing some very high DPS numbers. Or what you can do is that you can switch between both of them, have General Leo inflict said debuff with either his skill 1 or C65 to switch up the follow-ups and make it so that you are attacking the other enemy, the other target, instead of the previous one. So that's something that you can do, and you can rotate between both characters. When it comes to going up against 3 enemies, in my opinion, like, I really think that would just be a little too much for General Leo. So I would think that going up against 3+ enemies with General Leo would probably not be the best thing. So for him, I would say definitely stick to single target fights, or if you want to, you can always do it, or you can always use him going up against 2 targets as well. So in my opinion, General Leo, I had a lot of fun using him, and those follow-ups, yeah, 4 HP attacks is great and everything to add behind everybody who attacks said target with the debuff. And I do feel like that damage output definitely stacks very well. So for me myself, I am going to be pulling for General Leo once again, just because, like, I actually used him recently in a Shinryu in JP, and he was doing so freaking well, and I loved it. So I am going to be pulling for his kit once again. Next, we'll talk about Iris. Now, Iris is a pretty busted utility character for 2 main reasons: her EX and her BT. So let's start off with the EX, which I think most people know most about Iris. So basically what Iris does with her EX ability is that she moves a selected ally's turn to after her own. Then basically what she does is that she copies 100% of the HP damage dealt by the ally on their previous turn, which is stupid. And not only that, but she also adds an AoE split HP attack 2 times right after that. So she's adding more damage on top of the potentially insane damage that you may have done before Iris's turn. So take example, let's say if you are using Tifa and Tifa is doing 40 mil on her BT finisher, one of her abilities, whatever it may be that totals up to 40 mil. Literally, Iris is going to copy that, no issue whatsoever. Even if the force time just went away, right? Tifa did her 40 mil on the last turn of the force time. Iris is still going to copy that damage and add a little bit more with those 2 AoE split HP attacks. Yeah, it is by far the most busted EX ability that we have as of now on this game. So it is pretty freaking disgusting. The other biggest thing about Iris that I personally like, her BT effect lasts for 8 turns. What this BT effect does, aside from the party auras that grants brave damage up, brave damage cap up, and HP damage cap up, is that she literally sets all enemies attack, defense, and max brave stat to 0. That means that you are going to be hitting the enemies much harder. You do not have to worry about the enemies dealing any brave damage to you unless you count 1 as a brave damage, because like I mean, that's just a straight doo-doo brave damage, right? And then of course with the max brave being at 0, you have nothing to worry about when it comes to the enemies trying to attack you, because like with those stat decreases from a BT effect, yeah, you ain't got to worry about anything whatsoever. So aside from her having an insanely busted EX ability and having a very strong BT effect, Iris is going to be a must pull for many players. A few other things to mention when it comes to Iris. Iris is a good FR charger. Her skill 1 is able to heal a very good amount to everybody. When it comes to her skill 2 just deals 6 HP attacks in total. Nothing too crazy when it comes to that. Her LD ability does have turn manipulation. On that, she is able to grant brave to the party. She is able to recover 1 use of her skill 1 and her skill 2. Her buff provides some party auras like HP regen, brave damage up, stolen and gain, max brave overflow up, brave gains up, brave regen, and HP damage up. So it's a pretty good buff overall. Her FR. When it comes to her FR conditions, she does grant brave to the party before she deals her attacks. When it comes to the FR conditions, so while the FR is active and you are inflicting or attacking an enemy afflicted with break, the party is going to be gaining a 20% HP damage up and 20% HP damage cap up. And while it is active, regardless of those 2 other conditions, you will always be gaining a 50% brave gains up while this force ability is active. When it comes to the force conditions, a 40% increase whenever a teammate selects a melee ability, and a 30% increase whenever a party member recovers brave to the party except for self. So with that right there, you can easily, depending on which character you use and what sphere slot that you are using, there are some spheres that are able to grant brave to the party based on the damage that you are dealing. So if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that still counts towards that second condition, but in total, you'll roughly get between like 70 to 80%, just depending on what skills you are going to be using. So Iris is a very strong character, and a lot of players are going to be pulling for her just because she has some pretty busted mechanics within her kit, and she is still very much viable even to this day in JP. Like with that EX ability, that copy ability, yeah, it's just it's so freaking stupid, man. I don't know what they were thinking when they built her kit, but like that EX is insane. It is freaking good. Finally, we're going to take a look at Shantotto's FR and Ursula's BT. So let's start off with Shantotto. So her skill 1 is going to be dealing 5 HP attacks. Her Rage Bio is going to deal 3 HP attacks. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that does trigger twice. When it comes to her EX ability, the Divine Malison now deals 50% splash damage 2 times, inflicts the Divine Malison debuff and the Accursed Gaze on all enemies for 3 turns. The Rage version deals 100% splash damage 2 times. Her LD ability now gets an increase when it comes to Shantotto's Rage, gets an increase in HP damage up, and Stolen Brave damage up by 50%. Then if you take a look at her BT effect, she does get a BT effect, which all it does is it extends her BT effect by 8 turns, and also provides the party with a 30% HP damage cap up. To herself, it's going to be a 50% HP damage cap up, and whenever you're dealing elemental weakness brave damage, the party receives a 30% brave damage cap up. Now, if we take a look at her FR, Ultimecia is a partner, and this does inflict her LD debuff, Ruin's Curse, for 2 turns. When it comes to the FR conditions, a 30% increase whenever a party member except Shantotto uses an elemental ability, a 50% increase whenever Shantotto uses an elemental ability, and a 30% increase whenever a party member attacks an enemy inflicted with a cannot act debuff. So for your teammates, you're going to be getting roughly a 60 to 70% increase, and then whenever you're using or whenever Shantotto is acting, you're going to get between an 80 to 90% increase. So this FR is definitely more so for herself if you are going to be using it as the main force ability. Now, one other thing to add about this force ability is that while it is active and you are dealing elemental weakness brave damage, the party is going to be receiving a 30% HP damage up and HP damage cap up. So the FR, I mean, you do get a free Ruin's Curse infliction onto the enemies for 2 turns, and then if you're going to be using it as the main one, like, yeah, you'll get an increase in the amount of HP damage you're going to be dealing with, but again, this FR is not like, it's not the best. Just because you are going to gain more percentage whenever Shantotto is acting compared to whenever your teammate is acting, and even with FR Echo, depending on which one you are using, or depending on which type of FR Echo you are going to be using, it's still not going to be a dramatic increase. So more than likely, you're going to be using Shantotto's FR as an FR Echo instead of the main force time. So Shantotto, I'll be honest, after I had greened her and used her, like, really, I don't really see anything too special or crazy about her. I mean, like, really, the only convenient thing about it is that her LD call ability does inflict her Ruin's Curse debuff, and the other thing is that with her BT effect, it is the only other way to be able to get enchanted with the dark elements, because her BT effect does grant Dark Enchant, which does help out when it comes to meeting the FR conditions as well. So, I mean, Shantotto, for the crazy laugh and everything, not really crazy, but like the sinister laugh that she has and whatnot, I personally am not going to be pulling for her FR this time, just because like I really did not use Shantotto that much, and I wanted to give Shantotto a chance when she dropped in JP with her FR, but like afterwards, I personally did not really use her. I have seen some other JP players use her here and there, but I don't really think that she is a character that you were like she's not one of those like go-to characters compared to like some of the other characters that we currently have. So for me myself, I am probably going to hold off on Shantotto this time, and unless I get a FR like in a free multi or whatever, or just in like some tickets, if I'm chasing for Ursula's BT, I'm probably still not going to build her unless like I need it for like the ticket mission or something like that. Afterwards, we have Ursula, who is going to be getting a rework and her BT. So if we take a look at the rework real quick, when it comes to her skill 1, it's now going to deal 5 HP attacks. Her skill 2 is now going to deal 6 HP attacks. Her EX ability will now deal 4 AoE full HP attacks, and it does recover 1 use of her skill 1. Her LD ability now grants 3 levels of her Tenshoha usage count, which is going to be that change HP command, which now deals 2 HP attacks, then followed by more HP attacks depending on the amount of Brave that your allies currently has 2 times. So it's a good amount of damage that you can get out of it. So yeah, the rework is not bad. It's basically just like, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not like bad. It's just like enough where like it's there pretty much. But really, like, the biggest thing that you are going to be using Ursula is going to be with that BT effect. So her BT effect lasts for 10 turns, which is great. So basically what this BT effect does is that after every HP attack, it sets everybody's Brave to 100% of max Brave. Basically what that means, it's almost like a Quina effect, almost. It's similar in terms of like the direction that it's going to go, that is going to. But the difference is that with Quina, like, it doesn't matter what amount of Brave that you have. Like Quina, you are going to be hitting the HP damage cap regardless of the amount of Brave that you have. But when it comes to Ursula, Ursula basically sets it up so that anybody who has a very good amount of HP attacks will practically be capping every single time that they deal an HP attack. So take example Tifa. Tifa, with the multiple HP attacks that she has within her kit, having Ursula paired up with Tifa is practically going to be capping on all of her HP attacks. So let's say, for example, or another good example would be as to why you would consider pulling for Ursula if, let's say, you miss out on Quina. Like, Ursula is a very strong 3rd slot character because of that one specific line that you see there, making it so that everybody will always be at max Brave, making it so much easier for everybody to hit cap damage on their abilities and the HP attacks that are attached to those abilities. So it's a really, really good BT effect. Not only that, but she is also going to be increasing that max Brave by 50%, which is really, really good. So that's going to be higher amounts of damage that you are going to be dealing. You're also going to be getting a 50% Brave damage cap up, 30% HP damage cap up, and a 20% HP damage up. Also, whenever you are using a Brave or HP attack ability or ability upgraded from it, so like a change Brave or HP command, the party will receive a 50% HP damage cap up. So on top of the fact that she is going to be increasing your max Brave, your Brave is always going to remain full while her BT effect is active. If you are using a change Brave or HP command, then you are going to be getting a much higher increase in the HP damage cap, which I really do consider Ursula to be a very, very strong character in terms of making everybody else look pretty damn good. So Ursula, I missed out on her on my main account, but I was able to pull for her on my second account, and I'm glad I did because I was able to experience like how good of a BT effect that she provides to everybody, and it's a really good BT effect. This would be a really good replacement for those who missed out on Quina or were unable to get her BT effect. Like, Ursula would be a really, really good replacement to really consider pulling for because of like everything that she provides with her BT effect. So for me, myself, I will be pulling for Ursula's BT. It is a really good BT effect in my opinion. Players should potentially consider pulling for the BT effect, but if you are comfortable enough with Quina, then I would say you could probably hold off on it. But like, Ursula's BT effect is a really nasty BT effect in my opinion. So, but other than that though, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think about my pull plans, and let me know what your pull plans are going to be down in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.